All right, howdy YouTube. This is Farmer Ross here out on Jagannath Puri, our second farming location for Misty Moon Farms. And it's winter. You can probably tell because I'm wearing a jacket, and you can probably tell because there are dead plants, and there's this lush ryegrass. So I wanted to make a video talking about the benefits and importance of cover crops. So cover crops are super duper important. I wonder if I can lay down. Cover crops are super duper important for any farming operation, especially if you want to do it in a good way. Because what cover crops do, like this ryegrass, is they provide soil exudates, which are sugars, to the microorganisms in the soil year round. So even though it's winter and the fields I'm not growing any cash crops in this field right now, we still have like 3 different kinds of cover crops planted. And that's gonna continually build the soil throughout the winter time. The way that it works is plants as you probably remember from 6th grade biology, plants take in sunlight, water, and CO2 from the atmosphere, and they produce sugar with it and oxygen. And what they do with those sugars is, depending on the plant, about 60% of them get produced into more plant material. So they get made into, that's how the plants grow. So what happens to the other 40%? I'm glad you asked. They get released into the soil, sugars going into the soil to feed the microorganisms in the soil. And that goes into the bacteria and the fungi, and then the bacteria and fungi in return give to the plant the exact nutrients that they need to grow big and strong. By themselves, plants can't really access the nutrients in the soil. They're not soluble in a plant form, but the biological life in the soil, the bacteria and the fungus, protozoa and nematodes, are the ones that are making it available in a plant-soluble form. If you ever go to the store and buy like Scott's fertilizer or some kind of inorganic fertilizer, they're gonna be based in salts. So that bypasses the need to have biological life in your soil, because the plants can actually cheat and just absorb those nutrients without any kind of bacteria or fungus doing the digestion for them. So they're not sustainable because you have to continually add them. They're not giving anything except for that temporary fix or boost. They're not doing anything for the soil food web like cover crops are. Cover crops year round are producing more and more of the bacteria and fungus in the soil for next year, when I do plant cash crops in the spring, that the soil is going to be more inoculated, more alive than it was before. So that's one of the things they do. They provide protection against creating compaction layers in the rain. So when it rains, the pressure of the water droplet hitting the soil actually compacts it, so you have tighter and tighter soil. And as anyone who's worked in the garden knows, you do not want tight soil. You want it nice and fluffy, so you can just dig down in there. And so that the plant roots can really grow out and grow deep. Because the deeper that the plant roots grow, the more access to nutrients they're gonna have, and the more access to water they're gonna have. So they're gonna be so much more drought tolerant if those plant roots are going deep into the soil. Ryegrass, like what I'm laying on here, this lush green ryegrass, it can go 15 feet into the soil. Can you believe that? Grass roots growing 15 feet down into the soil. That's really impressive to me. Most people don't know that their yards can go that deep into the earth. So those roots are also going to be bringing up moisture, and they're also going to bring up biological life from that deep down up to the surface. So there's more available for the plants in the spring, the cash crops. So as you can hear, that cover crops are super duper important. There's tons of different kinds of cover crops. This ryegrass will keep growing throughout the winter, and it'll get pretty tall. So I'll have to do a chop and drop, a mowing, if you will, of it before I plant in there. And we also did clover. We did a few different kinds of clover. We did Dicondra, which is a really awesome cover crop. I've never grown that one before. I've grown rye and crimson. But Clover, I'm growing a new kind of clover too that I've never grown. It's a microclover that's short. And there's databases online. If you go to Elaine Ingham's website, you can find a list of cover crops that will do well in your area, and the different qualities of them, so how tall they're going to be, how well they grow out, what kind of climates they're naturally prone to thriving in. And it's also important that you get them as perennials rather than annuals, so you don't have to seed them every year. These are just going to come up and grow no matter what I do, which is great for permaculture. It's great for sustainability. The less work, the more benefits, the better it is for sure. So yeah, that's my 6-minute video on cover crops and the importance of them and how we're integrating them into our farm. We don't do any tilling, so we're not going to be destroying them. We only use the broad fork, and they can grow fine with the broad fork. It might disturb them a little bit, but it's not a big deal to them. So yeah, that's my video, and I'm wishing you guys all the best and actualizing your dreams. Ciao, baby.